but they're not. Oh, that's the good stuff. And then we get to choose who we let into our weird little worlds. You're not perfect, sport. Let me save you the suspense. This girl you met, she isn't perfect either. But the question is whether or not you're perfect for each other. That's the whole deal. That's what intimacy is all about.
Why don't you love me, Jenny? I'm not a smart man, but I know what love is.
What easy way? There is no easy way. No matter what I do, somebody gets hurt.
Would you stop thinking about what everyone wants? Stop thinking about what I want, what he wants, what your parents want. What do you want? What do you want?
It's not that simple.
What do you want?
I keep coming back to you. Ooh, I keep coming back. You put me through hell, but I just can't stay mad at you. Know me so well, but you don't even have a clue that I'm the one that cares the most.
We can use that one.
Hi. So love is like the wind. You can't see it, but you can feel it.
That's right. So spread your wings and fly. Is that how it goes? That's right. Oh, Mr. Dan Roth, come on, you know why. You can't help it. That's okay. That's the whole purpose of doing this in the first place. Trying to turn you. We're trying to turn you, Dan, to the good side of life. Okay. Whoa, excuse me. I don't know why I just had a cough attack. Hey, everybody. Thank you so much for joining us this evening. This is Unwrapped Love. My name is Gabriel.
And I am Yvette Richardson.
That's right. We are just two people in love who are passionate about just exploring the idea of love, all the things it encompasses. We are hopeless romantics. We just love wanting to explore more what life, love, and this journey has to offer for both of us. So we want to bring that to you every Tuesday and Thursday, 8:30 Central Standard Time. So we're on time today. A little bit, almost
like 3 minutes. It was 3 minutes.
3 minutes. So we're almost hitting it.
There's always one little kink right before we hit start. So that's okay.
That's okay. Hello, Miss Yolanda Chin. I can see you both. All right. Thank you so much. Hey, do me a favor, Miss Yolanda Chin. If you're checking us out on YouTube, do me a favor. I think I used to do this in the past, but I got to find it again. Oh, yeah. Do me a favor. Here it goes. I got it now. I'm getting there. If you're over on our Unwrap Love page, if you're not there already, head over there to subscribe to the channel. We're doing all our lives there. We're dropping video content of past episodes, stuff that we're going to create, YouTube shorts, all over there. So that's at www.youtube.com/@unwraplove. And if you're there, do us a favor, hit the notification bell. There you go. It'll let you know whenever we are live, schedule new lives, or whenever we drop new video content on the channel. So now that we got that out of the way, we are also on Facebook. You can check us out.
And on TikTok.
And on TikTok. You want to tell them the TikTok and the YouTube?
Yeah.
TikTok and Facebook?
Yeah. Facebook is Unwrap Love. And TikTok is unwrap.love.
That's right. And then we're also on Instagram now. So if you want to check us out on Instagram as well, we're posting content, shorts, everything over there. And that is at Unwrap Love Show. A little bit different over on Instagram. But also, if you want to reach out, we are starting a Facebook group where we're going to be bringing more in-depth conversations, questions, advice for anybody who wants to join the group. That is Love Talk is part of our Facebook group that we've already started. So we're here. We're trying to get all the socials covered. Website and blog yet to be determined, but we are going to create those as well. We just love and sharing ideas and thoughts, and we're both creative people, so we want to just share our insights and experiences of what we've gone through with love, and just things that hopefully will generally interest people who want to discover, learn more. That's the whole point, right? We want to help people learn more about love, spread around this in this beautiful world that we live in.
Yes. And hi, Randy. Good to see you. And thank you, Dan, for the comment. That was very nice of you.
Oh, what did he say? I didn't. Hold on. Why am I missing this? Well, I see every other comment, every other off the wall comment that Dan has, except for this. Okay, it says when Gabe gets married, he's not changing his last name. I didn't read that last part. His first name will change. There you go. That's kind of a good one. So, all right. Thank you so much, folks. This evening we are actually going to be discussing something. Oh, good. I am now subscribed.
Yay. Now we have 4 people.
Four subscribe. Hey, spread the word. That's how it starts. So if
Yeah.
you're
We're
not
trying
yet,
to get a little bit more.
eventually we will just start streaming there only, and I will stop using my YouTube page for this content, and just for the content of my past episodes and stuff I'm gonna be creating for live streaming tutorials and stuff like that. So uh thank you for subscribing to the channel so much. That was awesome. All right, this evening we're going to be discussing a very interesting topic, because this is like the genesis of getting started, where you ultimately you want to get to this point where you have somebody that you love, but the genesis has to start somewhere, and it's usually getting back into the online modern dating world.
So we talked about dating tips last on Tuesday. So now we're going to take a look at what is it like to set up a profile? What are maybe some of the do's and the don'ts that you should take into consideration whenever you are setting up a profile?
That's right, because a lot of the stuff here that we're going to talk about today will ultimately determine what you're going to be looking at, what's going to be happening on your profile. Just so many things are involved about what you're. Well, oh my God, come on, cat. Cat just can't help itself. Sorry, folks. All right. Uh, he's on the other side. Get out of there. All right. But no, the whole reason why we wanted to discuss this and getting started, we want to go through the progressions, right, of how most people start getting back into the world of finding the ultimately their soulmate, their lifelong partner. And it usually starts with getting out into the dating world, whether it's you're new to it, whether it's you're out of a long-term relationship now, or gone through a divorce and now you're looking at the barrel of a smoking gun and saying, I don't know what I'm doing now. Last time that I dated, it was, written notes, letters, phone calls, and now technology has kind of just shifted everything on how you interact with somebody. So being
And yeah, and remember too, like one of the stats was about 70% are successful when you do the online dating. So you hear about a lot of the negativity and the bad things that happen. But that's why we want to share like some of the do's and don'ts of the profile setup, because that is real important. That's how it's your first impression, what you basically show, about who you are, your personality, and so I think it's a good this will be a good episode kind of explaining that.
That's right. So, and of course, for those who aren't familiar, I know all you guys are here, but if there's anybody watching afterwards, I always want to give a little bit of a brief explanation. This is how we met. We both had our experiences of going through, getting back into the world of dating after being married and in a long-term relationship for so long. And then we are thrust back into it and trying to figure out again how everything has shifted. She was a little bit more familiar with it than I was. So, she kind of knew how to navigate where I was mostly going in blind, which is, I feel like a lot of people are doing nowadays, because they're like, I'm getting started here. And I'm not talking about like Gen Z and those, they were born into that kind of technology. I'm talking about boomers. I'm talking about Gen Xers, people who may have been married for a long time. They're either widowed or, they've gone through a divorce after long many years of marriage and they're getting back and acclimated back into the dating world. We just want to help everybody get more knowledgeable about what this journey you're about to enter is like. So just know that the results though are worth it. Like you getting to this point where you get to meet somebody. This is the culmination of us going through many, many different processes to get here, right?
Yeah, yes. And we also want some of your feedback. So maybe you have had some experience in this. We have a call in number as well. So if you at some point want to just call in, you can be live with us
That's
and
right.
talk to us.
We will venture down that down the slippery slope. It's fun and it's also
We have a hang up button just in case.
yeah, that's right. Exactly right. It's like getting on the edge of the plane about to jump off with the parachute, not knowing if it's going to open or not.
Yeah.
But it's the risk. It's the fun. Like, okay, we're going to do it. We're just going to go. So we will put that number up for you here in just a few minutes. When we get to that point of the show and the segment where we might want to have people call in. But I guess let's go ahead and get started into the topic that we talked about.
Yes. So the setup of the dating profile.
Yes.
Wait,
Let me just
that's the wrong first one. There's one before this one.
Oh, is it?
Yes.
Oh,
That's number 2.
that's number 2. Oh, yeah.
Yes.
That's right. That's right. You're totally correct. Hold on.
Slide.
I'm on the wrong slide. Wrong one. Let's start at the right one, guys. Okay. Here we go. We're getting there. Out of practice game. All right.
Okay. So, first up, first you need to choose the right dating app that suits your needs. So there are tons out there. There's lots of different dating apps. There's some for, different races. There's some for educational levels. There's some that are just for fun. There's some for friendships. Like there's all different ones. And there's some that also have been labeled certain things like, the Tinder one, the hookup
Right.
one, so some, some people might find success on, but there are, a lot of ones that have been spoken about and basically labeled for certain things as well. But so look at various options, what each app provides, and don't exclude because a lot of people think that the free apps might just have, trolls on there or catfishers or, whatever. But many do, even the free ones, offer great features that can lead to successful relationships. So actually, me and Gabe met on a free one. My opinion, like never wanted to pay for. I never wanted to pay. I felt like weird paying to find love. Like, mm-mm. So I felt like it should be free. So even in my 20s, when I first started to get on into the dating world, I found Match.com and decided to set up a profile there back in my 20s. And I didn't pay for it. They offered 7 days for free if you had, signed up with an email address. So I signed up, and then as soon as my subscription expired and they wanted me to pay, then I created a new email address so I could set up a new profile, and then I put all my information back on it, and I just kept doing that until I would meet people and go out on dates. But I did it back in my 20s. And then, I ended up, in a few different relationships, but then after my marriage, it'd been so long that I had ever, gone online to find anybody. It was different, going online now there's so many more apps. Back then it was the only ones I can remember are Match and eHarmony.
Harmony. Yeah.
Those were the main two that I saw 20 years ago. But today there are, we flip to the next.
Oh yeah, there's well, I just want to say one more thing
Okay.
before we
Yes, go ahead.
hop into all of those though. Remember, they're the whole reason that you're going into this and getting into dating, right, is you want to be able to find the right kind of person. So, like I will say this just as a male going into this, right? Um, most of these apps are going to be ones that you'll find something good out of it and value out of it. But I'm going to tell you that's why we put explore as many as you can, because you'll start discovering that each one of them have different features. And like even the free ones, like they offer some good ones. And although she didn't like to pay for them. I actually went down the other route where I did, and I did choose mine based on some of the features that you could actually um, get when you had a paid subscription. So some of them were actually a little bit more uh, involved, inclusive. You had more options on being able to like communicate or how you did things. I mean, I really liked some of the ones that were paid, and we'll discuss those in a second. But just be mindful that although you'd like, I can just pick willy nilly which one, you'll start realizing which ones work for you and which ones don't. So, uh, paid or free, they both have really good options on them. Just choose the ones that you'll discover that are going to work best for you. Trust me, it maximizes your opportunities in choosing the right one. So, that's all I really wanted to share as far as
And congratulations to TJ.
yes.
Yeah, getting married. Awesome. So did you meet online?
Yeah, I wonder if that's so yeah, I wonder if they did. Well, I think it might have been, it said engaged and on the way to getting married now. So
Yeah, but it
oh
just
yeah, it
says
doesn't
I've been
say.
in an LDR for 5 years now.
Yeah, long distance relationship for those who don't know what that means. And that's another thing we're gonna talk about, terminology. You'll figure this out. So
And Lena, awesome. So through comments on Facebook, he saw my comments and liked them, and then privately messaged you.
huh?
Awesome. So sweet.
Yes. Yes, my friend. Again, I'm gonna have to go, but you never know. You never know what might happen in life, and I don't ever want nothing bad on it. But there are people who've gone and they might have been married, widowed now, and they want to actually explore again what it's like to have somebody in their life and partner, just to, spend hopefully the rest of their continued life together with somebody. So it doesn't always work as according to plan, but just so you know, Roy, this is just for anybody, and hopefully you can find this video maybe in 10 years and something. I'm not saying I don't want nothing to happen to you. I'm glad you're married and I'm happily married. That's a great thing. That's an awesome thing. But this is for people. Again, there's people that are going through this.
Or somebody that might need some help.
That's right. So, all right, let's move on to
Worry.
the next slide.
Yeah.
That's right.
All right, so there are many dating app options available. So the free apps are, some people may have heard of it, but you can have Facebook dating, which is right on your Facebook. I've used it. So it's easy to get to. It's just on like a settings button, and then you click Facebook dating and set up your profile. And what's kind of cool about Facebook dating is that once you look at, the people, you can see if they are a friend of a friend. So, sometimes it helps, it feels a lot like a lot more safe if you know that they know somebody that you know. So you can see if you have mutual connections, and it's pretty neat. You can meet, and then for sure, like a lot of times, if they have an actual profile, if they've been online for a long time, and then it's probably not a catfish. So it was easy to figure out the real people on Facebook dating.
And I'll go into the next one because this one is one of our favorites. It's actually the dating app that we both met each other on. And like I said, I was talking to just a few minutes ago. I paid for subscriptions and were on some of the other more popular dating apps. And I just happened to use this free one. And, like I said, don't discount either. They both, again, are very helpful and based on what it is that you're looking for. And if you're like, hey, I'm not going to pay for love, but I still want to go find it, you still have options. And this is proof that one of those free options actually does work. So we're here as a testament.
Yeah, how much money did you spend on all of those other apps,
I don't
honey,
know. I don't want to
that
really
were not successful?
They were not probably honestly close to about uh $400
Wow.
because I signed up when I first
I
started.
was free.
Yeah, when I first started, and I signed up for oh my god, for Match. Like that was the first one I went on, and it was a 3-month trial basis, or it was a trial basis. They gave me a 7-day, like just like a lot of them do. And then they offered me like this huge discount for buying like a 3-month or 6-month subscription. So I paid for a 3-month subscription, and it was like over $100. I think it was like $35 a month. So that was my first foray. And then I've also paid for a few other ones very similarly. Some of them I were paying month to month, and then you find out it gets expensive and it's not working.
Oh
So
no.
yeah, in all total, it was probably about $400 I spent on dating apps. And yeah, I know it's crazy, but there's a reason it's a multi-billion-dollar industry. I mean,
At
yeah,
least it was, 400 is a lot, but it could have been worse. I'm sure some people spend even more than that.
yeah.
Yeah.
So Hinge was another one that we talk about. That again, it's proof that it does
It
work.
was it was my favorite one, and it was also the only reason I got on Hinge because I didn't even know about it. I hadn't even heard of Hinge. I had been on Facebook dating and wasn't really successful with that one, and so I, got off for a little bit, and then my brother said, "Why don't you try Hinge? That's the one I'm doing," and I said, "Okay." So I tried it and, it didn't really work in the beginning. I didn't meet too many people. It's like you don't on Hinge, I didn't get a lot of like likes or anything. It was fewer. So and then I didn't have success with a relationship I got into for 2 months. So I ended up just going offline. I said, I don't want to date anyone. I'm just going to stay single the rest of my life. And so for about 7 months I didn't go online, and then, when I went back on Hinge, that's when, I ended up meeting Gabe. But before that, my brother ended up meeting his long-term relationship. So he's been in a successful relationship that he met on Hinge. And so that really inspired me, seeing their relationship grow. I thought maybe I'll, give Hinge another try. And so I ended up meeting Gabe, and it's been, oh my gosh, the most amazing love I have ever had in my life.
Yeah, and to again, there are a few others. That's another one I forgot. So like Dan saying he met Jen on OkCupid, and I know my friend Nick Lozano met his wife on OkCupid.
Yeah.
So like, and then there's like what we're talking about, plenty of fish. There are a lot of again, there are a lot of really great options out there. But it's like what again, what you're talking about. How deeply do you want to take a dive into the online dating scene and investing in saying, okay, I really want to date. I really want to meet people. Really want to communicate. There's a reason some of these apps like have a paywall for you to get behind, so they offer you more features. They start putting more people in there. The algorithm works a little bit harder for you when you're actually paying. I will say that's about the only good thing I'll say on like
Yeah.
right now,
You might get more
like
likes.
stuff like that. Yeah, but and then like I said, then there are the paid to play dating apps that most people are pretty familiar with, like Tinder. I mean, yeah, they call it the hookup, and honestly, it is kind of geared towards
But there
a
have been some
younger.
successful ones on Tinder too. But you just gotta watch for the Tinder swindler. Like I hear
Mm,
he's pretty bad.
yeah, that if you have not, check out that Netflix documentary. It's kind of crazy, but it all happened because of somebody being on Tinder and looking, and you know, again, the hookup culture and the way that you move pretty fast on some of these dating apps, you can have the wool pulled over your eyes, and it's crazy that it happens. And in hindsight, we're like, how did you allow that to happen? And then you're like,
Yeah.
in the moment, it doesn't seem that way. So
And that's why you need to, if you haven't already checked out our catfishing video, we talk about that. Like, don't give them money.
yeah,
So that's how you know you might be swindled if they give you some sad story about why they need money. Like, no, you should not be just giving out your money to people. But
give it to the dating apps. No, I'm just kidding. I'm just kidding.
It might work for you.
It might work. It might work for you, but then we can move on to like Bumble, which is they use a different spin on it. They kind of advertise it as women have to make the first move. It works the same. I'm gonna tell you guys. I paid for Bumble. It works the same. Don't let them fool you.
So did a lot of them make the first move on you?
No, not as many. Not as the way you would think. Like the way that they push it in advertisement, you go, okay, this one's different because you know they're supposed to reach out to you, right? It's the same thing, you know.
Can they tell if you were looking at their profile and then they reach out to you?
So not until you get past the paywall. You get past the paywall, then you start figuring out. But then by that point, you start realizing though that it's a lot of them are either spam bots or probably influencers that are on the platform that they like push to talk to guys, and then you start reaching out and you never hear nothing back. So it works the same. I'm just gonna tell you, but hey, they're there again. There are testimonials. There's people that have gone through it. These apps do work. You just have to find yourself looking through the muddy water to find a little bit of clarity, and it sucks sometimes. But and then the one we were talking about, like I just mentioned, and maybe I should get sponsorship from them, and they could maybe like reimburse me for what I spent, but match. but
No, I signed on with Match this time around thinking I could get some kind of freebie on there like in the past. And no, there's like no way you can get anything for free on Match anymore.
No,
Like,
it's all behind a paywall, which you got to pay for the subscriptions, and most of them have made it pretty easy that you know you can manage your subscriptions, especially if you have like Apple Pay or something. It's pretty easy. You just go. I can pay by the week. On some of these apps. Some of them are by the month. So it depends on the options that you want to spend. Like, what are you looking for? How quickly? All of these things, because they have everything just about that you want a la carte if you need it. On some of these paid apps. So
yeah. And then I saw the comment by TJ, you kind of put it up there, but
yeah.
that's awesome that you held the relationship together through COVID. I mean, that was a rough ride for a lot of people.
Ooh.
So
It was
especially if you're in a long distance
Relationship.
relationship, like, and then you can't ever meet up, and that had to be horrible.
All right. Now we're gonna move on to the
Okay.
fun part. This is gonna be the fun part for y'all guys. So we're gonna go to get that out of there. So choose the right dating app that suits your needs.
That
I
was
already
the
read the
first
first
one.
one that I did. Yeah, I
Yeah.
sure did.
So
All
now
right.
we're supposed to put on the little video.
Yes, we are. Hold on. Let me move this out of the way so you guys aren't in my way.
So
I'll put this here, and then okay. All right. Now, hold on, folks. All right.
you move the comments down too far.
I'm gonna move them out.
Okay.
I'm just rearranging everything here real quick so that we can see.
Okay. So we're gonna be playing what it looks like. So we're still giving you some more tips on the profile, such as your pictures. Okay, so but we're gonna show you kind of what it looks like to go on Hinge, and then give you some tips about it. So we'll show the video first, and then we'll go over.
Well, we can pause it as we go along and talk about it.
Okay.
So that way we can
So
kind of go from each scene that we want to share and what we want to talk about. But
Okay.
so this is what the video looks like and how you're probably going to start with most dating apps. Of course, you sign up. First thing they're going to ask you for is like your mobile phone number, that sort of thing. But but you get to a point where you know you start getting started with just the basic information that most of them sign up for, and most of them, like I said, they're online dating apps. This is not desktop stuff anymore, folks. I think those days are pretty much a bygone era. I mean,
Yeah. Now you have the apps.
you have the apps that are on your phone, which you install through Google Play, or I mean, you have to the Google Store or the Apple Play download store. You just go through pretty easy. You look for them, download them. But this is how it starts out. You sign up with your mobile phone number. They send you a verification to get started, and these are how most of them. I'm just telling you, I've been on multiple ones, so this just kind of tells you, and then it starts to
Mhm.
prompt you how to get started with your profile. So, of course, like I said, as you watch, it's going to ask you for all your just basic information needs. I mean, all your basic information that it needs. So, like your name, your last name. It'll prompt you for like date of birth. And what you see on the screen, we made up a profile for just for
Just real quick, we made it and we deleted
and
it.
we deleted it, but for the educational purposes of like walking somebody through doing a
I didn't even want to. I was like, I do not want to do this. And he was like, well, it would be good to show them. So yeah, I did not want to go. I once you're now you've got to enjoy the process, and we'll kind of talk about that too. Um, but once you found the one that you want, it's like, that's not for me anymore.
that's true.
Yeah, but
But
enjoy the process
enjoy while it's going on. But and
Mhm.
this is like I was saying. So it's just basic information that you're putting in. And then once you get started and it accepts everything on the app, right? As you're seeing again, this is just basic information stuff. Um, but we're about to get into where you start making a lot of the options for yourself. This is where your journey actually is going to start. So we titled this one choosing your profile photos. So the age too, we made it up. It was like a middle ground for both of us. So, but like I said, all the information that you're seeing on the screen is just what you're going to go through and being prompted when you're creating your profile from the very beginning. And it might seem like a little arduous in the beginning to get started and putting all this basic information, but I mean, it's just stuff that's going to help with the algorithm figure out age, location, all these things. I know. Well, she does take the lead on some of these things,
Yeah,
trust
on some
me.
of it, you're not always here, Dan.
Yeah.
Um, all right, so on choosing your profile photos, I think this is very, very, very important. Okay, so I've seen so many pictures. We looked at some profiles when we set this up and looked at the female side of it, and what they've posted, and then I know what I posted, but I've always seen just the guy side. But okay, you want to stop there because we're going to talk about that section in here in a second.
Okay, yeah, yeah.
Okay. So, take or use a current photo. So I can't tell you how many times I would go on dates and guys would tell me, "Man, like I'm so glad you look like your photo." And I'm like, "Okay, thank you." And they're like, "You don't understand." Like this last date I went on, seriously, like I saw the pictures, she was pretty online. I go meet her in person and she looks like she's 20 years older. She's like, she does not look our age. She says that she's in her 40s, but she looks like she's in her 60s. Like, what kind of pictures did she use? And so one, you make sure it's current. You don't use a photo of you in high school when it's been 20 years since high school happened. So take a current one or use a current one or take one. But now for your main picture, it needs to be you by yourself. It needs to be a solo portrait of you by yourself, not with anybody else. It needs to be very clear, not fuzzy and blurry. So make sure it looks nice. It doesn't have to look like, a posed glamour shot. It can just be a natural photo of you or a natural selfie of you. But make sure that there's good lighting, that you can tell that it's you in the photo and it looks like you when you look in the mirror. So, which leads you to the third one. Don't use filters. Be authentic. Too many people put heavy like makeup filters on their pictures and it makes them look like somebody else, you know? Underneath all of that makeup filter, they really have, I don't know, tons of acne, or maybe they've got this was one guy I went out with. So his pictures, his skin looked great, but then in person he had all these like weird looking moles like all over his face. I was starting to count them when I was on the date. And then, other things like be authentic. He was missing a finger, which I'd be totally fine with if you kind of like warned me about it instead of kind of hiding it like this. And then all of a sudden he made a point and he put his hand up and I was like surprised because, he had four fingers. And so, be authentic in those pictures, and don't use filter so people know, what they're looking at. Um, Also, use not just headshots. Okay, so my brother said he went on this date with one girl who, in all her photos, they were like close-ups of just her face. But then when he met her in person, um, she was, and he's like, I don't have a problem with someone who's a little bit larger, but he was like, she was a lot larger and very short. And she didn't represent that in the pictures online. So it threw him off when he saw her. And he had the date with her and she was nice. But he wasn't feeling the chemistry because he just felt like it was not representative of her. And then the conversation wasn't, ideal and the best. So make sure you don't just use headshots. It needs to also include at least one or two full body shots so people know. And don't be scared. I know a lot of
Yeah,
women
that
are scared to show all of
their
their
body.
body because they're not comfortable with what their body looks like. I know right now I'm not at my ideal weight. I've been a lot smaller in my 20s. I got a picture I'm looking at over there.
Yeah.
In my 20s, oh my gosh, I had a rockin' body. I had lost a lot of weight and I looked great. So when I posted photos, like, I didn't mind showing all my body. But then when I got bigger, I didn't like it, So I understand the feeling, but I knew I had to because I was like, if someone's going to love me for me, they're not going to care how big I am right
Yeah,
now. They're going
just
to love me for me. I'm going to show all of it to you. I'm not going to be fake and just show you my face because I know in my face you can't really tell like that I'm putting on more weight.
yeah, and the thing is, and you'll see in some of the other in the video when we continue playing it along. But to be honest, like some people choose like a type that they're looking for, right? They look for a type. They'll put on there that they want someone who's slender or athletic because maybe they love running a lot and they want somebody who can keep pace with that kind of energy. So if you're just posting like headshots and not really giving somebody like the full spectrum of who you are as an individual, which is your body and trust, and like she said, yeah, it probably feels uncomfortable, but it's the truth. The
Yeah.
truth doesn't hurt. I mean,
Mm-mm.
it maybe bruises an ego a little bit, but but I'm just gonna say um, that when you do that, though, if a guy sees that and he goes, "Okay, she's not scared of who she is," it's kind of attractive. Like there are things that draw us to that. Say, okay, she can just be who she is, and if somebody's actually looking for that quality of the person, they have no issue, and it's like, okay,
Yeah.
I like this profile. I don't have no, quarrels. If we meet in person, I know that this is something. You know what the expectation is. You know what it is. Straightforward when you have the opportunity, if you get the opportunity to meet that person in a live and in close in person setting. So
Yeah.
just be mindful of that and know that it's it's not the end of the world if you're bigger or larger. There again, there are guys out there, there are women out there that might be skinny and they like bigger men, they like bigger women. It's a thing. Just telling you.
Yeah, but too, and I think a lot of the reason why I saw some profiles that said this, so sometimes I would read a profile and it would say, if you're a large woman, please do not like send me a like. Don't, I don't want to talk to big women. Like they'd put it in their profile. And I think maybe it's because they were talking to somebody that possibly wasn't representative of themselves. And then they met them in person and didn't realize. But yeah, it's real important to be honest about what you look like in your pictures. So no filters, and include, different angles, head and full body
Yeah.
shots.
And like you said, just one of the things I wanted to mention, like we put in the notes there, but yeah, yeah, it's okay to most of your phones, folks. Most of your phones, your cameras are so good. Some of them are 4K quality. They have high resolution, so it's okay to take again, high quality photos with them, and to use them on your profiles. You don't have to upload old photos of that's almost like a dead giveaway. Like this is this is
Oh, and another thing too, if you're married and you get divorced, don't use a photo when you used to be married and you're still wearing a wedding ring. Because we've seen photos like that where they put it on their profile photos and they're wearing a wedding ring. And it's like,
huh?
why would you, are you still married? Or is that an old photo?
That's a
Like,
for some that's right up that's a red mark, right? I mean, instantly, if somebody
yes.
looked at that, like, there's a wedding ring. Is this guy lying? Is this woman lying? What's going on? And even those the photos with somebody, they scratch them out, they mark them out with the black marker. Like, come on, man. You reach out and it's like, oh, that's my ex-husband. I just put him on the photo. I just like the way that I looked at that photo. Cut the photo in half. Okay, get rid of the other person if you're gonna go do it down that path. But hey, just again, that goes back to using a current photo, though. I mean, if that was 5 years ago, I mean, unless you're like still in the same shape, I mean, but age, so okay. Just use a current photo. It just makes everything so much easier for not only yourself in connecting with somebody, but then somebody reaching out to you, so they don't have the shadow of a doubt that this could be, there's a guessing game involved, and whether or not this person looks like what they say they do.
Yes, and then also whenever you're using the photos, use at least one or a couple of photos with other people because it doesn't you don't want to look like it's just you and you're not a social person. I mean, maybe you aren't. Maybe you don't like being around other people. You don't like people. But if you do and you like family and you like gatherings and you like to be social, like include some of those types of photos in there. Or if you like to go hiking, maybe include a hiking photo. Things that places you've gone before, show the best, things about you that represent who you are in your pictures. But it's good to have pictures with other people. Like I was talking about it out loud with my brother, and he goes, "Yeah, that's how you can tell how tall or short they are compared to other people." So I think he's still stuck on that girl that was very, very short. So
Right.
he's like, yeah, he wanted to, if he had seen a picture of her next to somebody else, he would have known. But yeah, having pictures with other people kind of shows, your personality too. So I know in my dating profile, the one that Gabe met me on, I had a picture, one with my cousin. I had another one with a friend of mine at work. He's a teacher that I work with. And then I had another one with my best friend. So I had three different ones that I had with another person in it. So it doesn't have to be like a huge group of people, but at least show like, you and another person is nice too. But don't make those like the only photos
Photos
you
you have.
have.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's the worst thing. Look, that's
The
the worst thing when you
worst.
run into somebody's dating profile and they have like 6 pictures, and it's like the individual and like four other people, or two different people, or four different, or three different people in each photo, and you're guessing like, who the hell am I supposed to be looking at?
Yes. I've seen that for the main photo where they have two people in it and I'm trying to figure out, okay, which one is he? Which one is he? And then you go through it and then you may not like the one that you eventually
See,
it's like, "Oh,
that's
that's why."
why.
That's why he put it. He wanted the good looking one. So he's like tricking you. So yeah, make sure that your main photo is just you and it's clear. Oh, and don't wear sunglasses. Okay, so
Yeah, no sunglasses.
my my cousin said the reason why she never dated online again was because she went online. and she met this guy, and on his pictures they were all in sunglasses, and he was like, oh, he's pretty cute, maybe I can go on a date, but he doesn't ever take his sunglasses off. I wonder why. So anyways, it was a thought in the back of her mind. She goes on the date, and then he takes off his sunglasses, and she's like, oh my. Okay, so she couldn't figure out which eye to look at because one was going to the left and one was going to the right, and she didn't know where to look. So she got freaked out, scared, and she said, she decided never to do online dating again. So if you've got, you might have great looking eyes, or maybe something's going on with your eyes, don't be afraid to show that because somebody's going to love you no matter what. So make sure that you're not hiding
Yeah.
behind things.
Thanks. And then the next one, choose modest photos. Now, I've shared this openly when I've been on my my friend Melissa Houston, when she was coaching me and sharing it on her show last week. Is like, I was looking at the wrong kind of photos because I was looking with all the women that were in their evening gowns, making sure that the cleavage was showing. The whole. I mean, it's not the best route to go. Yeah, those photos are probably very flattering and they make you look great. But that's also like not the real version of you. I mean, it's great. That's how you look when you clean up and out on the town. But how do you look when you're like just around the house doing cleaning or sitting down and vegging out? I mean, you want that image of that person of who they really are. So I think choosing modest photos is probably going to be the best route about choosing any kind of profile pics or even pics when you're together with the person. Like, you don't have to show all the goods right away, because if they're like, I don't like the goods, they're just gonna go, oh, I'm gone.
Yeah.
Right.
So that's mostly for women, but it can be for
For
men
men.
too.
Oh no. Yeah.
Yeah.
I,
Because men can be like all taking off their shirts in every photo and flexing. And it's like, okay, great. You have nice abs. You've got a nice body. But what about your mind and your brain? Is that all you want me to look at is your body? So guys do it too.
I
And
like
that one,
that.
yeah, I love that one because so true. Because people look different. I remember when the year that I was teaching my students, and they all wore face masks, and so did I. And then they started taking them off, and I was like, I don't know who you are. Like I couldn't recognize people because you look different. You look so different when you take off a face mask. So yeah, like COVID, where you had to wear a face mask every day, is over. So yeah, there should definitely not be any face mask going on.
That's right. Like, and we're just telling you these things, not just out of reading up on a lot of these experts and stuff like that, but these are also things that we saw and relate to our own experiences in going out and going out into the dating world, and realizing that, man, there's just so much that you have to filter through. And these things just kind of make it ease the process a little bit easier for yourself. Trust me.
Yeah, we gained knowledge through experience.
Exactly.
We had
Amen.
personal experience face to face meeting people that did not follow these guidelines. And so it was when we saw that people were following them, that's when me and Gabe met.
Yeah,
And we're
yeah.
like, yay,
Yay.
you represent yourself. I'm representing mine. And so it worked.
Exactly. So that's why we're telling you. All right. Moving on to the next one, guys. This is where we're going to continue on a little bit more, but we're going to talk about setting your preferences. This also, too, is very important because all of these dating apps, all of them, and just like all our social media platforms, work on algorithms. So you putting all this information is teaching it exactly what you want, and it's going to show you and start creating more and more and more images and peoples and bios that kind of fit what you're asking for. So it's
I just realized preference is misspelled.
oh, is it?
Yes.
Oh my God, it is. It happens, folks.
Sorry, that's a teacher in me.
Yes.
I didn't
Uh,
proof it.
that's okay. We're learning. All
Yeah,
right.
we'll fix it.
We'll fix it. But yes, this is where we talk about, again, in knowing your specific, your specify your relation type. Okay. So when you start going and moving forward into the process of setting up all your information, this is where it starts right here. Because you never know people. People are different. People want different things. So if you're looking into say monogamy, non-monogamy, you're
If you
figuring
don't understand what they words mean, look them up. But monogamy is being with one person
only
only. Okay, so if you're the poly type, then you would choose
monogamy.
non-monogamy.
Right.
So
So yes, specify your relation type. Um, this is very important because again, this is where the algorithm's going to start. It's right. It's one of the first questions.
So go slow when you're setting up your
All right.
preferences. You might accidentally choose something wrong, and you might be like, "Why do I keep getting this type of person? I never said I was interested in that." So go back and check your settings, what you set up, because maybe you did something wrong.
All right. And then, of course, you start doing your dating intention. What are you looking for? So there's people that don't quite understand, um, but there are options that people might look for when they get started. Whether it's like, hey, I'm going into this and I know I want a long term relationship, I don't want one, I might be open to one, or like, hey, if we start out as a long term thing and it goes short, that's okay too. If you don't know, figure out why you figure it out because it only
If
helps.
you don't say, then you're gonna get all kinds of stuff. So choose first. Don't just say prefer not to say. Like you need to say what your intention is. I know when I first went online, um, back into the dating scene, it was after my separation and divorce. I wasn't ready to get with somebody long term. Like that wasn't my intention. I didn't want to sleep around either, but I just missed the companionship. I wanted to be able to talk to somebody because, I lost the person that I talked to the most. He was my best friend when we were married. And so I just wanted to talk to somebody and I didn't have that. So I went on and I chose on one of the dating apps that I went on. I don't know if it might have been Facebook dating, but you could choose that you were looking for friendships, that it wasn't a dating partner. It wasn't long term. You were just looking for friends. And so I went and selected that, and that's all I was looking for. And so sometimes people would ask me, like, are you sure that's all you want? Do you think it could lead into a long term? And I said, right now, I'm not ready for that. I'm not thinking about that. That's all I want. That's my intention is friendship. So I only ended up meeting one guy that way. We stayed friends online for a little while, but then he started turning. He changed a little bit because he wanted to come into town, and this is where it's safety first. He wanted to come into town to meet me, as a friend, and I told him that I couldn't meet up with him because I had my daughter, and he's like, "Well, why don't you just bring her?" And I said, "I'm sorry, I don't feel comfortable doing that. I have to, if I can't find a sitter, then I'm not going to be able to meet up with you." And he became irate. He was like, "You mean to tell me we're friends and I've known you now online and you don't trust me meeting your daughter? Like, what kind of a friend are you that you don't like? What would I do? I have a daughter myself. Like, what would I do?" And he started like having this meltdown. And so I was like, "I don't know why you're acting like that, but I just don't feel comfortable even talking to you anymore." So I stopped talking to him and then he would send me messages every now and then. And eventually I just blocked him. So sometimes you might meet a friend online. It could be possible. In my case, that never happened. And then I just, shut it down and I just started talking to family. And then instead of trying to meet a friend online, I joined a community group at my church and then I had friends that way. So that, satisfied my need for a friendship. And then when I was ready, is when I went back into online dating and decided to do long term.
Yeah, but again, make sure if you don't know what that is, sometimes it's okay to sit down with yourself and figure that out first before you jump in, because again, it can become a whirlwind if you don't know exactly what you want. And um, there are people that have been doing this a lot longer, so they know how to navigate it. They know how to move forward. They know how to do all kinds of other things that leave you confused, and you might just have a bad taste in your mouth after the whole online dating experience. So yeah, know what it is that you want first, and then move forward from there. So, all right,
Mhm.
let's move on to the next one. Express your deal breakers. So this is another one that I think is pretty important that we talk about. Um, and there's, we've had a little flex on how we approach this as well, because there are things for some people that are deal breakers. Like, again, asking the question, if you're, maybe again, and you had this kind of situation. Thank God you didn't go through with it all the way. But if you're somebody that says, "Hey, I want to date just somebody over 6 foot," I'm like 5'9", 5'10" for a woman, and that's kind of tall. But I want somebody who's taller than me. Then, you'll be able to set it and say, okay, I need somebody like this. No, no, look, no, no.
And be honest about your height. So here it says, how tall are you? So when you're setting up your who you are, it's you set up your height. I know a lot of guys think that they want to be taller, and so sometimes they will put they're taller than they really are, and then you meet them in person and they're shorter. So make sure you say how tall you really are on this part of it. But yeah, when you're looking, go on to the next, like, hit play on that.
Yeah, but I'm just gonna say, I was just gonna say, no shade on you short kings out there. I mean, you
Yeah.
guys, you're entitled to love as well. I want to always represent you guys. But yeah, you just want to be able to say, hey, okay, these are the things that I really, really are important to me. So know what those deal breakers are for yourself. And of course, again, you go through and you choose your own. What's your oh my god,
Ethnicity.
ethnicity? Yeah, you gotta take it a little bit to breathe, Gabe. Um, and then again, there's things like this. This is another one. Whether or not you want to know what's a deal breaker for you. If you have no intentions of having anyone who wants kids, this is the time to say it. This is the time to put it into your profile.
Yeah, and here you're saying who you have, like, if you have children. If you want it visible on your profile, then you check it. I know there are some people that have kids that are too afraid to just put it out there. They don't want, like, potential people they're talking to know they have any kids at first. So they don't put it on their profile, and they just want to they just want to meet somebody and talk to them and get to know them and then reveal that they have children. So there's pluses and minuses with that. Maybe, it weeds out the guys that are only interested in you because they want to get to know your kids, which is very sick. But, you know, the downside of that is, there's a lot of real people out there that don't want to have any kids. And and if you don't reveal that you have children, and then they find out after you've been talking and decide to make a go at it that you have kids, then they may change their mind about continuing to talk to you.
Yeah,
So it's kind of a double-edged sword whether or not you want to post that you have children. I felt like it was important to, so I posted on my profile that I had
had kids.
kids.
Yeah, and
Yeah.
then that's an interesting question. Maybe one day you'll answer that for us. How tall you are, Dan Roth? And then just like to Miss Yolanda's point, how tall are you without those 5-inch heels? Yes. So be real about it. Um, but yeah, and then of course, as you go on into the dating profile and start looking at some of the other things, like I said, if you want children, don't want children, this is the point you need to express that. These are deal breakers for some people. And these are but again, be honest with what that is for you. I mean, this is the whole point, right? If you're somebody who maybe has kids, maybe wants more, you put that out there. If you're like open to having children, I mean, this is why the whole algorithm gets based on what the information that you're relaying to it, and it's going to just again it's going to create the profiles that show up in your feed, and whether or not you're going to get a high turnover.
Yeah, so where it said openness, so that's the part where it says like what you want.
On-
So first you say what you have, then you say what you want. And those are your deal breakers. So if you don't want someone with kids, like you need to put on there not open to having, extra kids, not open to having more. So you've got to kind of read through and make sure that you have those deal breakers on there, that you're not going to settle for somebody that has the opposite. Another one too that a lot of the dating apps have is smoking.
Yeah, that's in here.
So
That's here in two. It'll show you in just a second. Um, as we're saying, what the deal breakers are. The whole point too, though, is to have an open mind on some of these things. Like I'm not here. I'm not here if she doesn't have an open mind about what it is that she wanted, because she said she told me, and she's told this, and I think we've shared this before, but where you were
I
like,
wanted tall guys.
tall guys, right?
So that was not really necessarily a deal breaker if they weren't tall. But I was like, well, I'm starting over. Let me, take a look at things that I really want. And so I don't know, I just really have always, I guess, liked tall guys. I don't know why. And so, that was something that I was looking for, was a tall guy. And so I put in my preferences that I wanted that. But sometimes, and I think I did a range, or sometimes I think on the free hinge. Yeah, I think that's what it is. On the free hinge, um, they'll send you any height. Like it doesn't matter what your preferences are. And so some people could like you, even though your preferences are that you like taller guys. Somebody could like you that's shorter. So I know I had at least two guys that were 3 foot tall that sent me messages and was like, "Do you date short guys?" And I was like, "Oh, I'll date a little shorter, but not that short."
Yeah. Holler
So
at you, those short
yeah,
dudes. Them
I'm
short
sure
dudes
there's
will find
somebody
you.
for you, but I'm like twice your height. So no. So yeah, so I didn't really go for anybody under 5'10". And so I was like, that's probably my limit. But then I went out with one guy that was 5'8". And I was like, it's kind of pushing it. Don't and it didn't go anywhere, but I did go out with him a few times. But I could tell like he's like right almost at eye level. And so when I saw Gabe's profile come through and it was 5'9", I was like, man, I was really wanting 5'10" or higher. I was like, he's so cute, but he's 5'9". I was like, well, is that really a deal breaker? I was like, nah, let me look at his profile and, let me see, let me check him out a little more. And so I started reading his profile. And one of the first things he said on there, which is an important thing to do and put in your bio too, are things that catch people's attention. Something that is a unique characteristic about you, something that could even make you laugh. And so he put on there, guess my secret talent. And so he had podcaster, he had a NASCAR race car driver, and then he had ballet dancer. And I don't know, just I read it and I just started laughing. And I was like, oh my God, I could picture this guy as a ballet dancer. And so I decided to, answer his like and then let him talk first. And then I asked him, I'm like, so are you going to, if we end up going out, are you going to show me some of your dance moves? And he's like, well, actually, I'm not a dancer. I'm a podcaster. And I was like, man, I thought he was going to go with it and be like, yeah, I'm going to show you all these moves, baby. But he didn't.
No. I was like,
But it still made me laugh.
hey, that's right. But yeah, that's the whole thing, is sometimes keep your mind open to a wide range of physical attributes. I mean, come on, if you're like five, you say I don't want someone over 6 foot, and someone's 5'11". Come on, that's right on the borderline. I think that's fine.
Yeah,
it-
and too, like his height, 5'9", is really not bad because I'm 5'5", so it's not like I'm super tall. And so when he stands up in front of me, like, and I don't have any shoes on, like he's a lot taller than me. Like I have to look up a little bit. So it's not bad. I always just I don't know, I just felt like I had to have somebody taller, but he is perfect height for me. Like,
Yeah.
I love it. I love his height.
But
But that could have stopped
yeah, it could
me.
have stopped you,
It
and
could have stopped me.
never would have met.
I
Out here doing the
know.
show. So
Yeah.
and sharing our love, but but again, the deal breakers for some people. Again, if you're a stout person that's of very strong faith and like going to church and being spiritual and believing in God is important, these are deal breakers. Put them in there. Let people know. Look,
That's an absolute deal breaker right
I'm
there.
sorry if you're an atheist and I'm somebody who's a devout Christian. It could work. It could, but are you going to base everything on could? No,
Yeah.
you want to be more sure about what it is that you're getting into, and again, it could just lead to different things and harder things down the road. So,
It can.
eh,
It
so,
can.
so just put those in there and make sure that those are very important to you. Um, that way, people just from the get go know that about you, and aren't left guessing and saying, okay, well, I can maybe work out this way. But again, your political views, if you're liberal,
Yes.
if you're moderate, if you're conservative, or you're not political at all, let them
Yeah.
know.
And when it comes to political, I actually had a talk with my ex-husband, and he's been great about like telling me that he's watching the show,
You're a
and he
fan.
complimented us, and he was like, y'all actually look really great together, and y'all are doing a good job. And he wanted me to throw in there, he's like, just a bit of advice, like on the political side, he said that he's Republican and his girlfriend is Democrat. And he was like, some people think that that might not work, that just because you have opposing viewpoints, you may not, that you might think that's a deal breaker. And he goes, actually, it works. Like, we've figured out, first we butted heads, yeah, a little bit on some of our ideas, but then we figured out how to make it work. We agree to compromise about things. And he's like, and it works fantastically. And so now, it don't allow that to be a deal breaker sometimes if you have maybe a different political viewpoint. But don't also let that ruin a relationship either. Talk it through and communicate about that in the beginning.
Right. And again, going back to the things like if you don't want somebody that drinks, or hey, you're an alcoholic and I needed somebody who can like hang with me, then yes, put it in here. If you prefer not to say, okay, sometimes if you're a social drinker, there it goes. Or if you're like a recovering alcoholic or you just don't like alcohol at all, then you let them know. That way, again, it just makes it easier when you
Yeah.
communicate and that's put out in the world and you're not like, hey, let's, especially if it's somebody that says, I don't like drinks, that you're going to say, let's meet somewhere at a bar or let's meet, especially like it's,
Match what you like too.
yeah.
Yeah. So if you don't like to drink and you say no, you don't like to drink, don't maybe match with somebody that likes to drink a lot. I mean, unless you're okay with being around it. Maybe you're a recovering alcoholic and you don't need to be around that. And then two, don't choose that don't choose sometimes, because oh my gosh, I know somebody that put on their profile that they sometimes drink, and I looked at him cross-eyed. I said, excuse me, you drink every day. You drink every She goes, well, I don't drink a whole lot. I'm like, it doesn't matter. You
You
drink
drink every
every day. You
day.
can't say sometimes. Like, that's why people are not staying with you when you're dating them, because they realize you drink a lot. So
Yes.
don't put sometimes if you drink a lot.
Yes. And then of course, you want somebody that smokes, don't smoke. I mean, whether it's tobacco, marijuana, anything along those lines, let that be known
Yeah.
in the very beginning because again,
Yeah, because it's cool on Hinge. You can put, if you smoke weed or not, or if you do drugs or not. So make sure if you don't, that you put no, you don't, and that you're looking, and to make that known even in your bio, that you are not looking for somebody that does any of that, especially smoke. And the thing about smoking, vaping and smoking, in my opinion, are the same thing. So if you vape, put on there that you smoke. They don't have a vape one yet, but it's still smoking. Okay. So I met a guy and talked to him and formed a relationship and really liked him in the beginning. And he told me he did not smoke. It was in his profile. He didn't smoke. And then one day he tells me, "Oh, my buddy has said I should mention to you that I vape." And that's kind of like smoking, but I don't think it's like smoking. I don't think it's smoking at all. It's vaping. Vaping is different because it doesn't stink. And I was like, no, vaping is like smoking.
Yeah, very. It's pretty much it's just a different way.
Nicotine.
Nicotine. So, all right, let's move on to our next one, which is setting up your bio. So we're gonna go a little bit. We're gonna just touch base here a little bit on some of these things because we're gonna go a little bit further in this on a whole nother topic of discussing how to like set up your bio. Like there's so much more in depth that goes into actually writing it and putting it out there. But one of the first things is let it be your voice, right?
Hmm.
Yeah.
Let it come from your heart. Let it be your words. Don't ask AI, what should I say for a dating profile? Like, no, don't use AI. Don't use Google. Don't ask your friends what to say. Like, let it be your voice. You can always ask their opinion after you've written something like, hey, what does this sound like? Does it sound like me? But let it be your voice. Set it up initially.
Yeah, and then of course, do things like I did when in mine. Share your interest, hobbies, and goals. For me, I was like, hey, I'm a podcaster. I'm a live stream talk show host. Um, I am on social media all the
I don't
time.
think you had that on your Hinge profile, honey.
No, no, no. But I did. I did. Well,
On one of your other ones, maybe, but
well,
not the one I read
no, I changed
because
that.
you were sneaky because I didn't know you were a podcaster.
No, no. The reason I didn't put it on my Hinge is because I didn't want you to guess by reading my profile, right? I mean, it would have,
Throw it off
it
the
would,
initial question.
yeah, it would have been like, oh, I already know the answer to this, so yeah, don't tell me. Um, but yeah, on some of the other ones, I did put like, hey, I was into social media because I thought that was important for me to express that, so that people knew straightforward from the beginning, hey, this is what I do, and it's an interest and it was a hobby, and it was always a conversation starter too. Like, wow, you do podcasts? Like, what do you talk about? Like, it was almost like an instant way to open the door to conversation. So that's why I would put it on some of them. But I realized when I picked that prompt after I'd already had it, I was like, man, I'm going to have to change this in my profile. So I removed it and didn't put it back in there eventually. So, but it worked. That's the whole.
It works not putting it in there.
Well, yeah, exactly. It worked not to put it in there. Um, but yeah, if your goal is to say if you're empty nester and you're looking to like go travel, put that down. That's my goal. Like for the next 5 years, I'm looking to travel around the world and spend time.
Yeah, or if you're a homebody and you like sitting around watching movies, make sure you put that in there because there are people that like to sit around the house and watch and stream and do all of that. But that if that is not you and you like to travel and like to go see places and you like to go out and do things, make sure you put that in your profile. So, I like kind of a balance. I can do both, but I wanted somebody that doesn't do that all the time. I was tired of being stuck in the house. COVID really made me tired of being stuck in the house. So I like to go out and have fun and do things. And I mean, our first weekend together, we went to like 4 different places. So it was a really good start. So yeah, if you share what you like to do, share your interests, and be real about your hobbies, and kind of like let your personality shine through your words. And, if you have any future goals, put those in there. If you're working on something like you're in school, you can add that in there. But I wouldn't say like share everything. I mean, don't put every word
The-
for word narrative, play by play of your
yeah.
life. And especially don't put in your past relationship drama, you know,
Yeah.
don't put in a lot of negativity. Like this needs to be positive. Okay, so you're looking at the positive side. Everybody has flaws, but you can slowly start to share those, with that person that you are opening up to and trusting. But you don't have to list all of that in there. I remember reading profiles talking about, yeah, I have depression, I have anxiety. That was like their first lines. I'm depressed, I have anxiety, and like listing all these things that they have wrong with them. And then,
Swiping left.
just, no, I actually talked to him.
Oh, wow.
Because I was like, I wonder, because I was wondering,
Wow.
I did, because I was like, well, now who in the world would do that? So I was curious. The curiosity got me. And so I was like, so what's up? You're pretty brave for just putting out all of your mental health problems like in your first paragraph. And so I talked to him for a little while. It didn't last very long, but I did talk to him because I was wondering, how and why.
Yeah.
But that was like one of the only ones I saw like that. But
Uh-uh.
yeah, you don't have to put all your negativity and
Yeah,
drama.
you're not writing
Mm-mm.
you're not writing your dating manifesto. They don't need to know that you're writing
No.
War and Peace for dating. It's just, it's supposed to be a nice, brief overview of what. That's why I said,
Kind of like an elevator.
yeah,
Yeah.
elevator pitch for somebody.
Yeah.
Yes, it's exactly what you're doing. So, and it's okay to share some of the qualities that you seek in a partner. You don't have to put every minute detail
No,
because again,
don't.
it can be played off of. But just say, hey, I'm looking for somebody that's honest, that's open, who likes to communicate. Just put a few things again that you like. Somebody who maybe, hey, maybe it's somebody that I want that's athletic, that likes to exercise. Those are things that I think it would be um, pretty general information that you put out there that's not too opening, as far as like people can look into and seek ways to like use that information against you. Um, but it's okay to put that out there and say, hey, again, these are some of the just beginning qualities that I look for when I'm just looking to find a partner and see if there's anything that can work between the two of us or if there's any magic. So I think that's pretty uh, a good way to go about it in the very beginning, just in the beginning. Okay, we're going to discuss this even further down the road. Um, but just to get it started and get yourself out there, this is the way to go.
Yes. And maybe so, Yolanda, maybe he was trying to get somebody to
I
fix
can't
him.
help.
But I think basically he said that, he felt like, he had it. He didn't care if anybody knew. And he figured he'd put it out there right in the beginning. So if it, turned somebody off, then they wouldn't click on his profile and wouldn't send him a message. If people were comfortable with it, they'd talk to him. And I was like, okay. I said, well, you're kind of brave for doing that
Yeah, yeah.
because I was not putting, hi everyone, I have bipolar. No, I didn't put that on my profile.
Yeah, but going on to the next part though, it's okay to share basic information about your life. So whether it's, hey, this is what I do in my career, like just hey, or like for me, I put like I felt like I had to put this in here because I didn't want to have it come up somewhere else down the line and somebody would say that I was giving them false pretenses, but I would say, "Hey, I'm a father of 4." That's all they need to know. I don't have to tell them how many kids, I mean, what ages or races, or excuse me, genders, any of that stuff. I'll just say, "Hey, I'm a father of 4," and then I wouldn't go any more in depth about that. I'm in sales again, general, just basic stuff about me, um that,
Yeah.
that again, that people can't go too in depth on. I think that's where that information and all that stuff is what you're supposed to be sharing once you get past the initial stage of just connecting
Hmm.
with somebody. So yeah, it's okay to put all this stuff in your bio.
Yeah. So like I would put I was a teacher, but I wouldn't say what subjects. I didn't say what school. I didn't, give more information than that. But I did have teacher in my bio too.
Yeah, and that's just comes back to just having some basic information about you. This is the elevator pitch. You don't have to sell them on everything. You just got to get just enough to get a conversation started. Um, so let's see. Oh, we did that one. All right, let's move on to the next one. But as I play the video, start seeing there. Now, I chose a few photos to use that were wrong, which we told you about and you'll see why. Right. So as I go through, here's one. Right. What was one of the things you said?
Is this okay to choose this photo? Come on, let's hear from our audience. Was that first picture okay to choose?
Yes, and then I chose one here again. No full body shot. It's just me and my mic, my head. That's all you can see. Not even my forehead. and I have glasses. Again, there again, is that the way to go? Like, and then here's one, of course, like you said, take one with somebody. Now, of course, this is us, but share one is again with you some next to somebody, so it looks like you're social and you're active. And um, but these are the things that I was just saying, as far as like how choosing the right kind of photos will set off whether or not you're pretty successful with people reaching out to you. I felt I did this totally all wrong in the very beginning for my journey, and I really had to go back and look at it. And when I had a friend like kind of look at my profile, she's like, "Why the hell would you put any of these things up, or why would you?" Like, I would take screenshot photos of me like during one of my live streams. It's like, why the hell are you sharing that? That like that, you with the headphones on and everything else. It's like, don't you have pictures where your like hair's nice and neat? I said, yeah, I do. Like, I got photos of myself. Like, she goes, start with those. Like, use those kind of things
Mhm.
um, to put out there. And then if you get more and more like deeper, have those ready and say, yes, this is what I look like. This is what I do. And I have all those things like just ready to go at any one point, but not to put in as the main picture for my profile. And especially when I have like old, like I had, again, I did all the wrong things. I had an older image of me that I put on there. I was like, this is none of it was right. But I was, again, inexperienced in getting the whole process started. So yeah, that's why like I wanted to share some of those and go, this is what you can do wrong, because guess what? You'll put them on there and you think, okay, my profile's on point, and you won't hear nothing but crickets.
Yeah, so that's why it's good to run it by somebody else to get their opinion as well. But yeah, so if you saw some of the profile questions, like a life goal of mine is to dance with Queen Elizabeth. You can be funny, like show your sense of humor in the profile. That's gonna get somebody's attention, and hopefully it's the right attention because it's a funny joke that's not sexual.
Yeah.
So that's the thing too. In your bios, don't talk sexual stuff. Like that's a major turn off, and for a lot of people that are looking for a long-term relationship, they're looking for someone that's gonna be real, somebody that's gonna be there for them. And they're looking for a little bit of laughter, humor, and smiles too. So this is funny. Unusual skills. I can stuff a whole chocolate bar in my mouth. Yeah, I have one. I can put my whole fist inside my mouth, but we
We
won't.
won't. uh,
I won't do that
that's
live
exclusive
unless
content. It'll be on
yes,
our
yeah, you'll have to pay for that one.
yeah, that'll be behind the paywall. You gotta get to. But yeah, here we go. You got to match. What next, right? So this is where we're gonna kind of tie things off for this evening, and we will have a continuous conversation on this next week. But one of the cool things that you said, and it really made me think about it because I didn't actually do this myself, was look beyond the first photo.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, and that's what I did with Gabe. I saw his first picture. I liked it. I thought he was cute, and really hot, especially when I did the first FaceTime with him. I was like, whoa, oh my God. But with the first photo, I was like, yeah, he's cute. And I was like, let me see. Let me look a little bit more. And so sometimes you get stopped at the first photo and you don't look anymore. You don't even look past that. A lot of people are like, move on, move on, move on. Well, maybe their first photo isn't, the best picture they could have taken. They might think it is, or nobody gave them advice about it, but maybe there's a better one in there. Or maybe they look a little different when you FaceTime with them than they do in a picture. Because once somebody starts moving around and you got different facial angles, like you could look a lot cuter in different angles and different lighting. So don't just judge, their whole profile based on that first photo. Keep going. Read the bio, see if your preferences align. Okay, so if they
Yeah.
don't, then that's could be a red flag that this is not something that you want to continue. So yeah, definitely look at the bio and then respond back. Try to do it promptly. Don't wait a week, 2 weeks, a month,
That's a
because people are going to move on. So if you're really interested in finding somebody, you've got to stay on top of it, and answer back, because if you don't, somebody else will, because they probably, like Gabe did, he was liking more than one photo at a time, and he was seeing what was out there, which is totally fine. I was doing the same thing. So I was talking to several guys and he was talking to several girls. And so when people were responding back, he was responding as well. And he was starting to create, relationships online, and hadn't met any of us yet. So respond back, because somebody else is at around the same time.
Yeah, so you never know, and sometimes it could be like, hey, look, that person responded more, or they responded sooner, and that individual that that responds back, they might be like, well, he really has more interest in me than this other person. Like, okay, cool, I will move forward with that individual. So that was one of the things that I was like, hey, man, I can definitely see that I wanted to. Oh, hey, Mary Ellen, how are you? Tuning in. Um, but yeah, again, you get to those points where especially somebody who used a paid site. Trust me, okay, I used a paid site. You were hoping to see a response back, and when it was take like 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 days, you were like, okay, this person has no interest in me, and I
Yeah.
have no interest in carrying on a conversation. It's great that you responded back, but like, I mean, how it kind of gives you a telltale sign of like, this is how often this person maybe is on the app, or if they are, they've been ignoring you. You don't know what to think. You're thinking to yourself, they've been ignoring my response, or whatever the initial response that I had, and they waited for this long. I don't you don't know, so you just question in your mind.
Yeah, so the first thing you do is you heart it. I mean, you could start a conversation, or respond to one of their questions, but you usually like just send a little heart on Hinge, and so that's what Gabe did to me. He didn't say anything to me. He just hearted it. So I was like, all right, I'll heart you back. So I hearted him back, and then you either wait or you initiate a conversation. So you could start the conversation because you hearted him back and be proactive as a female in today's world. Or you could do kind of old school and say, well, the guy's got to say something first. So it's whatever decision you want to make on that. I decided to wait. So I was like, let me see what he's gonna say now. So then he started the conversation with me. I don't remember his first line. It might have had to do with my glasses.
Yes, it was actually. So I was like, hey, I really like the way that your glasses. I mean, I told her that I like, first of all, that I liked her glasses. It was a nice look on her, and I liked the way that she added color to them, because it gave it personality, and that kind
Yeah,
of just.
so I have different colored ones. I switch them out on all the shows. So if you're paying attention, these are like a galaxy purple, but I wear different colors.
But I thought that was kind of cool. So it like really prompted me to like respond to her photo and say I like her, and just to see where it goes from there. So yeah, that was, you know those kind of things are pretty important when you're looking at somebody, and especially whether or not they respond back to the initial like reach out to them saying, "Hey, I like you."
Yeah, so I was glad he started a conversation because he had more to say than "What's up?"
Well, so yeah,
or like "How you doing?" There was a lot of basic questions, and so he had more to say in his initial response. And so then I, said something back, and it wasn't one word. It wasn't just or two words. Thank you. Period.
yeah,
So
right.
there are a lot of people, and that's a problem when you start and when you have your match. Take advantage of the ones that actually have a conversation with you, the ones that give you a few sentences. Respond in a few sentences. If they ask you about the weather, like, talk about the weather, or bring up a memory of when you were a kid and you had a similar situation in a snowstorm, whatever it is. Like, continue like a good conversation with them. Don't put one worded answers. Those are horrible. I've seen so many on the guy side, and he's seen so many on the female side, that it's boring. boring.
Oh boy.
Boring. Or after you start the conversation, then they take like 24 hours before you get another response. And it's like, are you still interested? Like, why am I waiting 24 hours? Or sometimes even a week. Like, I had a guy take a week to respond after the initial conversation. And then he was like, I'm so sorry. An emergency came up. And I'm like, that's fine. And I talked a little bit, and then he did. And then he, not talk for a few days and then come back and just kind of stringing me along. And I was like, it's whatever. I didn't delete him off. I just kind of talked here and there. And then talked to a few other guys. But Gabe was one that kept talking, and I kept talking. And before you know it, we were talking and talking. And, I had a rule in my head, like, I'm not going to let, some guy take all my time all day long and me be texting all day long. Like, I got my life and things together, but I couldn't help it. Like, the conversation was so good. I was like, okay, do I have a break now? Can I check my phone? Okay, he sent me a message. All right, send back. Okay, wait a little bit. Okay, focus. I got to work on this. I got to do this. I need to take care of this. But I was just waiting for that next message. And then I'd look and be like, oh, he sent me another one. Okay, I'm going to send him one back. And then before you know it, we were like sending messages back to back. We did get sleep though, and that's another tip.
Oh yeah,
Sleep.
sleep.
Don't be texting or calling all night long like you're a teenager. Like, get your rest. Have a normal conversation. But if you can send messages during the day, especially in the beginning, it's super fun. And sometimes we still do it when we have time, but we realize, hey, like, we have jobs and sometimes it's crazy busy. But when you do have time, you make
Make time.
time.
Yeah, that's
Like, every
absolutely.
Tuesday, Thursday, he makes time. Like, he might not text me all morning long because he's busy at work, but then he comes up to my job and he's busy, so he can come up to my job and see me. So every Tuesday and Thursday, for lunch, I go downstairs, I meet him. When the weather's nice, we go for a walk. When it's not, we sit in the car and talk. And we do it every day. All the teachers on my whole hallway are super jealous. But he does. Nobody else's men do that for them. So yeah, they're a little hot and jealous over it.
That's okay, Bob. But when you're that invested in somebody and you really do like them and care about them and love them that much, it's no big deal.
Yeah.
Honestly, it's not a big deal to make time. So like you said, you reach out to somebody and you guys like hit it off. This is why I say have a
Yeah.
simple start to the conversation because you never know where it's going to lead. But
Mhm.
I promise you, it's not going to go nowhere with one word answers. Like, how was the weather? Or you say, how was your day? And you say, okay. Like that to me, like I just want to punch the dashboard of my car, or if I'm near a wall or something, go,
I
come
know.
on, you're
It
more.
was great because I felt the same way, thank God.
So, and again, don't for the it's the best part about having conversations is for them to be free flowing and to be natural. Let them be natural and express a lot of things about yourself. This is what I love about conversation. Like this is one of my favorite parts of why I love doing interviews and talking to people in general is that as the conversation starts naturally developing, you learn more about that person and they express things to
We're
you.
still learning
Learning
about
about
each other.
yeah.
We've been together almost 11 months now, and we're still learning, and we learn all the time. And that's the beauty of being in a relationship that you're not rushed. A lot of people rush and rush and rush and think they got to, tell their whole story in a book in, a week. Like, then everything about that person. He still finds out things about me. I still find out things about him, and we're still learning about each other. We've allowed it to naturally develop, not push it, force it. It's just naturally developed from the beginning until now.
And that's the best part about like
Mhm.
getting out into the world of dating and just getting to this point is already a struggle and a battle. So when you get there, make the best of the opportunity. Make the best of you having a chance to talk to a pretty woman or a handsome guy. Do it. Yeah. It's one of again. It can be a life changing experience, and sometimes that's what love is all about. Is having that moment to do it and say it and You never know where it's going to lead or the doors it can open, but it never won't if you won't at least open your mouth and say something. So that's the cool part about all of this. But we're gonna go a little bit further in detail, like, because now that we've gotten to this point of even having the conversation, there's another step. There's a couple of big steps that go
Oh,
for
there's a lot more. We're gonna be having lots of
conversation
conversations.
about this, but
Yeah, I'm looking forward to it.
but we're gonna continue this conversation next Tuesday. So
Next Tuesday at 8:30.
eight-
Hopefully, we'll be on and ready by
8:30.
8:30
We were
exactly.
close today. So
Yes.
close, so close.
I'm pushing for it. I'm pushing for it. We want to get regular on our time.
On our times, and the way everybody knows when we're here. But yeah, uh, so every Tuesday and Thursday we will be going here live. Next week we will start working on just putting out audio podcasts as well. We will just have exclusive podcast content where sometimes we will be discussing further in-depth things like this that we won't be able, to fit in the allotted time that we want to have. So we might be able to share that, and it's easier sometimes also to just do an audio podcast. So we'll have an audio only uh, portion that you guys can go listen to, download whenever you're out and about. Um, and I will have all that information and stuff ready. But right now,
Oh, we never did ask if anyone wanted to call in. We said it in the beginning,
we
but
said it in the beginning, but
we'll work towards that.
we'll work towards that because
Yeah.
I think once we cover a lot of these things, then we'll start reaching out to people and seeing if anybody wants to call in. And plus, it gives me the time to like set up a prompt where people can see the number and actually
Yes.
call in if they want to. And we'll have a set time, like a moment during the show when we will start taking call-ins.
Yeah.
So we're working towards all that, but this is the fun part of what we're getting to do is just talking about the things that we've experienced and that we love about being in love and what we look to explore more about. So it's going to be a great journey, and I'm so thankful for everybody who's come along and has been part of this regular regular show that we've been doing. And I know it'll just grow because once people start realizing what we discuss and talking about, they'll find interest in it, and I know that people will show up and hopefully take something from it, learn for themselves, or apply it to their lives, or pass it along to somebody that really needs it and say, hey, you need to watch this show because this is the stuff that you need to learn to talk about. Or
Yeah, even my
understand.
mom was on the phone with my aunt, and she was like, Laura, did you know Yvette and her boyfriend are doing the show on Love? You need to watch it, girl. It is good. And so she's like spreading it. My mom likes to talk to everybody. So she's like trying to get her family and like people she knows to watch it. And then she called me this morning. She goes, I was watching some of your episodes that you have on there already. And oh my gosh, like I was watching the one, I forgot which one she said she was watching. Do you remember?
Was it the catfishing or trauma?
No. It was the long distance relationship
Relationships.
one. And she was like, wow. She goes, something about it just made me start crying. And she was like, it really touched me. And she goes, y'all are so good. And you're so honest about everything you say. And I was like, yeah, that's how you do it. It's the authentic side. Like,
always done.
yes, you have to, which I love about him. And it's just so easy. I'm like that at my school. Like it's just it's natural. When you lie about things and you lie who you are, you get twisted and tangled and say the wrong thing. So it's so important to tell the truth and be authentic in your relationships and your dating profiles when you communicate. I think honesty and integrity are so, so important.
So there you go, folks. Another one in the books. So I do appreciate everybody who was here throughout the show. I know we've been probably running for close to 2 hours, but we had hour and a half, so we had a lot to cover today.
We rambled a little bit in the beginning before we got started. We'll probably need to work on that a little bit because
But you guys know me. It's hard to not talk and ramble, so we'll try to work on that. Work on that. Well, but again, hey guys, thank you for checking us out. Please spread the word. Follow us if you're not already over on our new YouTube channel. That is at www.youtube.com/@unwraplove. Man, we got all our past episodes, all of our lives, all the stuff that we're going to be creating will be on our YouTube channel.
Yes, please, please, please subscribe
Please
if you're
subscribe to-
listening.
Yes, right.
Yeah,
Please
we need
subscribe. Go hit the notification
subscribers.
bell. That's right. Let us
Yes.
know. And of course, you can follow us on Facebook on our Facebook page at Unwrap Love over on Facebook. And then you can also join. You can reach out and join our Facebook group, Love Talk. So again, we're going to be discussing a lot more in-depth things like this. We're going to be posing questions, people who they're seeking advice, and just trying to build a community over there of people who want to get involved and
Yeah,
you
so
know,
please
grow
join us
up.
on Facebook. Join
Facebook
us
as well.
there too.
And
And then if you have a TikTok, yeah, I'm trying to grow that and get more followers there. So it's unwrap.love. So it's at unwrap.love. So if you can join us on TikTok as well.
and then of course we are on Instagram if you want to follow us there too. We're on all the socials. Over on Instagram, we are at Unwrap Love Show on Instagram. Follow us over there. We'll be posting again more content, videos, shorts, that sort of thing, with all these conversations that we've been having and sharing with you guys. So, got anything else, baby?
I love you.
I love you. That's almost the best part of the show is getting to that point. So we're still working on the catchphrase, how to wrap everything up.
Yes, we need to work on one.
We're working on that, but hey, I'm just
But
gonna
I
wrap it
love
up.
you.
That I love you.
I loved adding that on the end.
Yes, I do too. So hey guys, like I always say, I think this is just a good way of thinking and mindset in life. But live, love, and serve like no one else, and you'll absolutely change the world around you. And hey, that's what love is all about in my eyes. So. All right, guys. Until Tuesday next week, 8:30 Central Standard Time, we will be back. Part 2 of our conversation of getting started on online dating. So it's been fun. So, all right, I guess that'll be it. Anything else? I'm sure.
Have a good night.
Have a good night. Thank you, Yolanda. You're awesome.
You.
I need to make you a moderator on our
And
YouTube
everybody
channel.
else that was on here was
Mary Ellen. Yeah, Mary Ellen. And Kenneth, TJ, Anthony, Randy, all you guys who were here very early on and stuck with us.
Leaving comments. Thank you to all
Oh,
those.
I forgot Mr. Roy, Mr. Tech Troublemaker. Where did he go? Roy, you too as well. Thank you so much. Oh, and Gabe. Who's this Gabe guy? Oh, that's me. Just kidding. All right. Thank you guys. Have a good night. We'll talk to you again very soon. Have a great weekend. Stay safe. All right.
Good night.
Good night, everybody.